a day, beautiful people. Trina, hey girl, hey. Alicia, you know, I saw your text a little while ago. Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna call you right when I get done. Trina, you been able to lift off yet? Peaceful greetings, Uncle Nathaniel. Oh, okay, you fine. It don't even go off for real because I keep it on silent. That way it don't disturb my sleep and I get it when I look at it. Well, happy Thursday, everybody. It is February the 17th, 2022, day 33 of year 4, reading through the books of the law and the prophets under the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1051. Today we're going to read, hopefully we get through the rest of the prefaces for the complete Anunnaki Bible and get through some, if not all, of the introduction. And then we'll pick up where we left off at in my big toe. In chapter 22. Okay. Hold on. Lavon, peace and blessings. Yes, you did. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. We got to talk about it, girl. We got to talk about it. Lisa said, hold up, Trina. Because how? I haven't yet. Yeah, she been trying. She got to get focused. She keep falling completely asleep, like in deep, deep sleep. I was like, girl, you must need that rest. Just keep going at it. Keep going at it. Okay, y'all. But whew, boy, look, I still haven't posted my my tracking page like I said I was. I still got a few more things to add to it. But I tell you, it's been quite an interesting ride. Jen, shalom, shalom. Yeah, so, and I was going to do it sometime throughout the day yesterday, but I get so much activity when I go to sleep and I'm doing it. It's like, whew, boy, you know what? I don't know how exciting this is going to be. I don't know if I can take it right now. Not that I can't, but it's like I'm still processing everything. It's like, this is amazing. Almost kind of overwhelming that this is actually true and this is actually happening. Like, and I'm actually completely awake and I'm sound of mind and I'm experiencing this. It's just like, I'm just moving like a step at a time, you know. So I still haven't gotten to wave 2 because I'm doing 5 and 6 again. You know, it's just each time I go back and I redo it, I get something different. And it's like I'm out of body and like a different type of, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. But it's different each time. So I can only imagine what it's going to be when I get to the second wave and start over there. Okay, let me pull this up. But it's really good. I'm just like, why haven't we known about this till before now? Yeah, so let's go ahead and do this. Shema. Shayla, great rising. Yeah, 5 and 6 for you too. Look, I don't know which one it was. I want to say it's 6, but yo, I want to say it's 6. There's something that amazing that happened. Okay, so when I was maybe it was track 1 of wave 2 because that's when I woke up. So it could have been inside of there, but I'm not quite sure yet. But we had. I don't remember what happened up to. I just remember. Okay, so you guys seen Doctor Strange when he went to go see the doctor up in, I think it was at the in Tibet or whatever. He was looking for the great teacher, and she touched his forehead and just like threw him out of his body and in astral space and everything. He began experiencing all this. Okay, so kind of something like that, but not really that. Let me tell you what happened. I was explaining it to my sister. It was like I was going through it, you know, and I was nice and relaxed and I was out of my body. And then it was like a version of myself. That's the best way I can explain this being that was there. The being that was there, it looked like me. But like a what?
You can go out the back and open the restarting thingy.
The restarted. Oh, this is keep starting over. You know, you gotta go plug it in. I think it's because they downloaded Roblox. Put some of this on your lips, Sudie. I'm gonna have to fix it because I probably need to turn it all the way off. Let me see. I'm gonna just try and restart it. It's like it was this bigger version of me. I could sense it was. I couldn't see it clearly, but I could tell it was like another more perfect version of me, if that makes sense. And I was so much bigger. It was like I was this huge being, right? And then it was like I took this other version of me took my hand or took its hand. Bella, look, it's going to keep cutting off. Get down from behind me. Be quiet, Siri. I wasn't talking to you. Probably because of my thumb.
Still on it.
Siri, close. Yeah, it's not. You got to go plug it in. It's doing something crazy. That being took its hand and took it and placed it right on my forehead, right? And when it placed its hand on my forehead, there was like this wave of energy. It was amazing how it felt. It almost felt like it was this warm bath, but it was like this warm surge of energy that started at the bottom of my feet and it went all the way up to my head. And when it got to my head right here, it was like my whole body, it filled with light. And it was like the light in my body was so bright that it burst out my forehead and lit the entire, not just the room, but everything that I could see for miles. It just lit it up. And I didn't get scared, but it shocked me because I could feel it and I jumped back in my body. I'm like, oh, what was that? And so since then, that was day before yesterday, I just been thinking about that. I ain't going back out of body. I really want to, but I'm just trying to process everything. Look, and I started thinking about the scripture in the New Testament. If thine eye be single, then thy whole body will be filled with light. I'm like, I wonder if that's what that was talking about. You know, so it's just, I don't know, y'all. I'm just really trying to process a lot here. And I ain't got past wave one yet. You know, so I'm really curious if y'all are doing it and what's happening with y'all, right? Am I the only one getting this much activity, which I know I'm not. I guess depending on, to me, from what I understand, hearing a couple different people, I guess, I don't know. I want to say based on how much you currently understand or how much you know, I don't know. I think it moves you in steps. I don't know. But it's really, really interesting to hear the different things, you know. So, but what I did yesterday, since I didn't do it, I did cut on Mr. Monroe's second book. I done got completely through the first book. If y'all haven't listened to it yet, if y'all ain't got it, I don't know if it's free on YouTube. I haven't looked for it, but I download all 3 of his books on Audible. And it is really good because here in the first couple chapters, when he would remember how him and Dennis was going to Mr. Monroe's place and they was setting up the little lab and experiencing everything. Mr. Monroe tells his side, his viewpoint from everything that was. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So it fills in some of what he was talking about in the beginning. Guys, y'all have to get it. Y'all have to get it if you can afford to get it. Get the Audible so you can listen to it. If you want to read it, it may take you a little bit longer. But I love listening to Audible because I can consume the book a whole lot faster. But it helped fill in some points here. But by him giving his literal detailed account of when he had his outer body experiences, he said a few things that I myself have encountered. I was like, oh, that's what that was. And it seemed like some things is like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's this real place that exists. I don't know. Because he described some of the same things I seen. I don't know. When you go out about it, maybe you hit this place in your journey. I don't know. You just listen to the book. But I'm in a second one, and it's really, really good, y'all. It's helping me so much. I'm just consuming the information, just meditating on it, assimilating it through my own personal experience and everything. And that's why it's taking me so long to finish typing out everything. I want to make sure I don't miss any kind of details. By the time I post it, it's going to be like a whole maybe 2 or 3 pages, because the days just keep, progressing. So I'm going to try, I don't know, maybe I'll give y'all the shortened version of it, or I don't know, I just put it all up there. Okay. All right, so, yeah. Auntie, Grand Rising, Melinda Brown. Okay, y'all, listen to this call for wholehearted commitment. These are the commands, decrees, and regulations that the Lord your God commanded me to teach you. You must obey them in the land you are about to enter and occupy, and you and your children and grandchildren must fear the Lord your God as long as you live. If you obey all his decrees and commands, you will enjoy a long life. Listen closely, Israel, and be careful to obey. Then all will go well with you, and you will have many children in the land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Listen, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I am giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed, and when you're getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. The Lord your God will soon bring you into the land he swore to give to you when he made a vow to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is a land with large, prosperous cities that you did not build. The houses will be richly stocked with goods you did not produce. You will draw water from cisterns you did not dig, and you will eat from vineyards and olive trees you did not plant. When you have eaten your fill in this land, be careful not to forget the Lord who rescued you from slavery in the land of Egypt. You must fear the Lord your God and serve him. When you take an oath, you must only use his name. You must not worship any other gods of the neighboring nations, for the Lord your God who lives among you is a jealous God. His anger will flare up against you, and he will wipe you from the face of the earth. You must not test the Lord your God as you did when you complained at Massa. You must diligently obey the commands of the Lord your God, all the laws and decrees he has given you. Do what is right and good in the Lord's sight, so all will go well with you. Then you will enter and occupy the good land that the Lord swore to give to your ancestors. You will drive out all the enemies living in the land, just as the Lord said you would. In the future, your children will ask you, what is the meaning of these laws, decrees, and regulations that the Lord our God has commanded us to obey? Then you must tell them, we were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his strong hand. The Lord did miraculous signs and wonders before our eyes, dealing terrifying blows against Egypt and Pharaoh and all his people. He brought us out of Egypt so he could give us this land he had sworn to give to our ancestors. And the Lord our God commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear him, so that he can continue to bless us and preserve our lives as he has done to this day. For we will be counted as righteous when we obey all the commands the Lord our God has given us. All right, beautiful people. Linda, shalom, shalom. Blissful rising, Uncle JB. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get in here. The Anunnaki Bible. We stop on page 11. Preface to the 5th edition. Remember, before it actually starts, it's giving you all the prefaces, because all the prefaces are really important, and they just added all of them to this 6th edition. Okay. The last time the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible seen revision and prepared for publication, the Mardukite Chamberlains, a Mardukite research organization, were midway through a second active year. Prior to the 4th edition release, the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible had only been made available direct to members of our group. This changed in 2010 when materials were no longer handcrafted limited editions, and we started commissioning small print runs of our work presses that we would in turn distribute privately among the underground. By early 2011, we had decided to no longer limit distribution of books to only those dealing with the office and began contracting out materials to third-party publishers. Audrey Shalom. Since the last revision of the Necro Bible, Mardukite Chamberlains have completed 2 additional cycles of supplemental materials, usually cataloged by year. The Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible consists of the 1-year research and curriculum composed of what was originally 4 distinct libros or discourses that were made available individually during the first active year of the Mardukite Chamberlains in 2009. The Year 1 materials are now only available within this complete Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible and anthology. During the second year, the Mardukite Chamberlains looked deeper into the mysteries of the book you now hold and composed the 2-year cycle as an investigation into the Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible lore, developing a companion anthology currently available as Gates of the Necronomicon, edited by Joshua Free. The 2-year 2010 anthology contains standalone materials still available, such as Sumerian Religion, Liber 50, and Necronomicon Revelations, the 9 Gates of the Kingdom of Shadows, Liber R. I'm not sure if Liber stands for library, but it just says Liber, Liber. Yahuwah is one. O great spirit, Yah, fill us with your presence. Teach us your truth here in this physical realm until we return back to the spiritual realm. Hallelujah. Yes, because our spirits never die. I completely understand that. I realize that now. We only really transform to another realm, right? Our energy just transcends to another realm. It is, however, the Year 3 work that is uniquely of interest to the reader for this present 5th edition. The Year 3 2011 cycle includes materials that are now present in this edition of the Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible, not included in prior ones. The Year 3 cycle was released in 2 different formats, an esoteric and an academic, but the same materials appear in both. The esoteric cycles includes a trilogy of Necronomicon spell books labeled 1, 2, and 3 that are culminated in the anthology Necronomicon Grimoire, edited by Joshua Free. The academic cycle is also presented as a trilogy: Megan Magick, Liber E, Maklu Magick, Liber M, and Beyond the Ishtar Gate, Liber C. The Tablet U and Tablet V series included now are new to this edition of the Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible, first appearing in Liber C, Beyond the Ishtar Gate, or Necronomicon Spellbook 3. Previous releases of the Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible also did not include English translations of the Tablet M Maklu series, restored for the current edition based on recent availability of Liber M Maklu Magick, or Necronomicon Spellbook 2. Finally, the Tablet W series, previously only available as the Book of Marduk by Nabu, has also been added to this 5th edition, rounding out a now complete alphabet catalog of source materials as originally intended for this book all along. Given the magnitude of this project, it should come as no surprise that it has taken several years and required more attention than any other single title I have ever been involved with. Enjoy. Nabu, Joshua Free, Mardukite, West Coast Satellite Office, Spring Equinox, March 2012. So everything that he talked about that's in that 5th edition, everything is included in this entire 6th edition. Remember, so don't worry about if you're going to get to hear this stuff that the 1st through the 5th editions is talking about. He added that in here to let you know that all of that stuff is available in here in the 6th edition. They've added everything. Okay. Preface to the 4th edition. The evolution of the Mardukite Necronomicon has been beyond incredible. It has become not only a work of art, but undying spiritual devotion to the source of all existence and the pursuit of undefiled truth behind human beliefs and cultural expressions. Not sought for fame or fortune, the meagerly operated offices of the Mardukite Chamberlains, Ordo Nabu Mercadikai, I think that's how you say that word. I probably said that wrong. Worked from late 2008 through 2009 in an academic pursuit that would serve to become the basis for modern revival tradition. This work is now known as the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible. So if you go on Amazon, I didn't get it because I'm glad I didn't get it because I saw this one first and I kind of read through a little bit of it and I realized that some of the older versions are still out there. So if you're going to get it, I mean, you can get the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible. It's still up there and it's for sale. It's like $20 last time I checked. But all of that stuff has been updated and it's included in here, you know, so, but if you want to get it, I mean, I guess that's fine, you know, but it is there. So, but just in case you're wondering, it's this one, the complete Anunnaki Bible, right? You get this one. This is the complete edition of everything. So don't get confused when you see them both showing up together on the same page on Amazon if you go there to order your stuff. Okay. This work is now known as the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible for two main reasons. Firstly, it strongly echoes the sources of inspiration that many have found valid from the 1970s release of the Simon Necronomicon, which in actuality introduced, along with Zechariah Sitchin's The 12th Planet, this concept of ancient alien gods to the mainstream consciousness. And secondly, it symbolizes a complete wellsprings of spiritual, mystical, and wisdom tablets from the heart of Babylon in a way that is accessible to the modern truth seeker, who has until recently only been left with folk traditions and pop culture mythology interpretations from which to base a tradition. Elsewhere, a true and faithfully self-honest relay of this tradition has never been found anywhere in the mainstream New Age or among the self-proclaimed gurus of the internet. This intention has fueled my charge. In many respects, my participation, now entering its third year with the Mardukites, has been a pleasurable torment, for the work, now paired with our companion, Gates of the Necronomicon, edited by Joshua Freed, or Sumerian Religion, has brought this modern Anunnaki movement to new, innovative, and groundbreaking heights that could never have even been first imagined. Presenting the work in a fourth edition is an impressive venture to me as a writer and editor, but also the idea that it will be first presented as a deluxe hardcover edition, making the nostalgic feel of the 80s occult experience available once more. In addition, some small philosophical corrections have been within the current text to reflect the continued year 2 and year 3 work of the Mardukite Chamberlains and the Nabu Council. For those who are new to this flavor of the modern movement, welcome. To those who are returning to get your taste of what this edition has to offer, welcome again. Nabu, Joshua Free, Mardukite Office, Rocky Mountains, Beltane, May 2010. Preface to the third edition. Seekers from all over the globe have begun a mass movement toward the Mardukite path, and for a good reason. It makes sense. It is whole and complete, drawing from the most ancient origins, capable of our understanding, making no excuses for itself, and in its own self-evidence, requiring nothing to be taken blindly on faith. Looking back at the beginnings, we find the origins for all of contemporary beliefs and life structure among the ancient Sumerian and Babylonian lore. The echoes of these vibrations have since been carried through all cultures and are deeply ingrained or impressed on the entire consciousness field that the planet shares. Semantics, the very meanings and imagery associated with words, are the way in which we are interpreting, influencing, then reinterpreting again as reality. Few have ever fully understood the wide-angle total complexity of the integrals within the system we are a part of. Quantum physics, at least the self-honest ones, do seem to be making tremendous strides in explaining this reality medium that we occupy using scientific paradigms, but this is, again, just another system of semantics. It is not necessary for us to further separate the system into more parts, only to discover that there are further and smaller parts we equate back into the whole. This is working backwards and is not at all beneficial in reaching wholeness. All this commonly used method accomplishes is to inform you that some parts seem to have a connection within one paradigm, one set of semantics, but all is actually connected, equal, and one. Hold on. But all is actually connected, equal, and one in the all, ALL. So when you hear all, in Hebrew, it's pronounced as L, but in like, if you see like Islam or whatever, they pronounce it as all, which is actually the right pronunciation of it, not L. It should be all. That's referring to the creator of all, the all, right? Okay. But all is actually connected, equal, and one in the all. It is a fragmentation of this oneness that we call existence, experienced as a manifestation in time as parts. After spending many years involved in the underground occult, and he got in parentheses underground, he has the quotations around underground. After spending many years involved in the underground occult scene and practical ceremonial magic, I decided to take on a more active role by releasing of materials that would have the freedom to surpass the pop culture and new age sludge that has become quite rampant. As truth seekers within our fellowship have known for some time, the primary year one Mardukite Chamberlain's curriculum of study we proposed under the umbrella of Necronomicon was broken up into 3 volumes, Liber N, Liber LL, and Liber GG, plus an unpublished 4th known as Liber 9. Liber N began circulating among Mardukite Chamberlain's Council of Nabu Tutu in spring of 2009. Fragments and ideas first appeared as Marduk and the Anunnaki. Final culmination, along with its interpretation, was a direct result of work simultaneous with the Marduk Gate operation during Beltane of 2009 and the Lapis editions of the Necronomicon, numbered 60, released on the summer solstice. The same materials were then edited together with additional articles for a hardcover edition premiering in September of 2009. To preserve integrity of Mardukite Chamberlain materials during development, the Mardukite Truth Seeker Press continued to release the remaining Year 1 research and curriculum extensively to its internal membership. Liber LL, or Liturgy and Lore, was released in July as a Ruby edition, numbered of 120. It contains articles and teachings that best emphasize a practical reconstruction of the Egypto-Babylonian paradigm of unity, focusing on the role and function of the ancient priesthood, which in history has also been connected to divine dynastic royalty. In August 2009, Liber GG, or Gatekeeper's Grimoire, completed the core trilogy, better describing the mystical, magical side of the work, more closely matching people's expectations of a practical occult grimoire. It was released as the Emerald Edition, numbered of 180. Here, now in your hands, for the first time ever, contained within a single volume, I am pleased to present the complete Mardukite system under the guise of the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible, including prefaces of previous Mardukite Necronomicon editions, as well as various introductory articles derived from throughout the trilogy of Libros. Minor revisions, corrections, and additions may be found in the present edition when compared to prior ones. This is done without comment or note, not to jeopardize consistency, but rather, on the contrary, to consistently work towards the improvement of the outer materialized published form that seems a necessary evil in the relaying of these universal teachings to our fellows. I have sacrificed a normal life to bring these mysteries forward, far less comfortable than some of my contemporaries, running for my life at times, living in my car at others, ever on guard, armed with the truth against the world. Friends are few and far between. Adversaries, skeptics reside around every corner. It has become a thing of normalcy to me, for I have never glorified the path of the night of the word to others, nor would I do so now. Are these mysteries enclosed? Are these mysteries enclosed dangerous? Most certainly so. But they also contain the truth, and perhaps it is for that reason that they are so dangerous. Tread carefully out into the night, dear seeker. Safe passage to the source. Woo! Oh, that just ran chills down deep through my shanana. Tread carefully out into the night, dear seeker. Safe passage to the source. Nabu, Joshua Free, Marduk Chamberlain's Administration, Yule, December 2009. You know what? I didn't read. Okay. So, down at the bottom, actually, it just started here in the third edition. Okay, so down here, there are footnotes, and I'll read them. Okay, 6 of them. So, okay. So, and I didn't even call them out as I was reading the paragraph. You know how it has in the Bible, when you read, it has like maybe a scripture, but above a word, it'll have a number. That number, like number 2, that means look at the footnote for number 2 down at the bottom of the page. And this is going to explain more. Okay, so I didn't read out those numbers as I read through it, but I'm going to just read over all 6 of the footnotes. Okay. The first one is Liber LL and Liber GG have since been referred to as Liber L and Liber G. Number 2, Liber 9, published as the Amethyst edition of the Liber 9, published as the Amethyst edition of 9 Gates of the Kingdom of Shadows in November of 2009, numbered of 33. Number 3, Marduk and the Anunnaki was the original title used for a short-lived Mardukite periodical in 2009. Since then, a monthly magazine, New Babylon Rising, has been established. Number 4, a synchronous global occult operation was conducted with remote participants all over the world, marking the beginning of the literary work of the Mardukite Chamberlains. Number 5, the 2009 Lapis edition Necronomicon Liber N is considered the first edition of the Necronomicon Anunnaki Bible. Number 6, the 2009 hardcover edition Necronomicon Liber N is considered the second edition. Okay. The preface to the second edition. At some place, sometime, you first heard the word Necronomicon, more than simply a book imagined by a fantasy horror writer or the product of some intensive Mesopotamian investigations in the 1970s. The Necronomicon is a piece of human consciousness, a primordial archetype that has existed in the backwaters of the mind for thousands of years. New Age, and it has New Age, the parentheses around New Age. Oh, the quotes, I'm sorry. New Age revivals of ancient paganism and earth-oriented spirituality, druidry, and magic are a natural response. The state of the world is in demand for a complete shift in human awareness. And while H.P. Lovecraft, ain't that something, H.P. Lovecraft, we talked about Lovecraft Country the other day. That's kind of crazy to me. And while H.P. Lovecraft may have been alluding to such a tradition nearly 100 years ago, even if only subconsciously, and the 1960s witnessed a gigantic practical rebirth of such traditions, it was really in the late 1970s that a separate but synchronous mainstream awakening occurred. Renewed interest in the antiquated Sumerian and Babylonian mysteries, specifically the role of Anunnaki, or great gods, who once roamed the earth and became figures of our ancient mythologies around the globe. Since the arrival of the Necronomicon by Simon and the 12th Planet by Zacharias Sitchin in the late 1970s, these mysteries have become a primary focus of the occult underground. And this is the second time they mention his name. I didn't even realize. These are two different authors from what we read, the Lost Book of Enki. This is a whole nother different person, Joshua Free, that's been on his whole other spiritual journey writing this, right? So he alludes to some of Zacharias Sitchin's stuff. Okay. Since the arrival of the Necronomicon by Simon and the 12th Planet by Zacharias Sitchin, and I have the 12th Planet, I just haven't listened to it yet, but it's on the list, and I'll let y'all know what's in there if y'all ain't got it yet. Okay. I'm going to read the sentence again for the 4th time. Since the arrival of the Necronomicon by Simon and the 12th Planet by Zacharias Sitchin in the late 1970s, these mysteries have become a primary focus of the occult underground. They bring to light the true tradition of the great mystery school that has otherwise eluded the pop culture mainstream metaphysical world. I think I might use that for the title today. Great Mystery School. Oh, I'm glad I got a second pen. Hold on. I always be dropping my pens. Hold on. Okay. They bring to light the true tradition of the great mystery school that has otherwise eluded the pop culture mainstream metaphysical world. While the rare high priest or druidess might obtain some decent recognition with the publication of their coven's Book of Shadows, or a television psychic goes on to make a career leading lonely housewives into the light, it is the Simonian Necronomicon that stands alone as the leading bestseller of occultism, more than 1 million copies in circulation, not including those which have been unofficially reproduced by fanatic and skeptic alike. In the non-fiction literary realm, this is big business. In the ancient Reconstructionist realm, this is of serious interest, and in the shadows of an alleged age of new enlightenment, given the face of a Gnostic Da Vincentian pre-post 2012 illumination generation, this is huge. There is no reason to give into this whole idea that the book itself will cause someone to go crazy or give into criminal activities, as has been suggested in the past. We can appreciate the idea of triggers on the psyche, but someone who is in a pre-existing state of sound mind will not actively respond to passive stimulus, motives, pictures, books, etc., unless a predilection is already there. Commentary concerning the dangerousness and credibility of the Necronomicon appear elsewhere in the current work. The Simon Necronomicon alluded to in this tradition, perhaps the most ancient tradition that even predated itself. The work was not ahead of its time, but was instead lagging behind its time, seeking to preserve, perhaps from the memory of its allegedly Arabic author, the lore and traditions of a dying priesthood, but second-hand at best. The work is then transferred into the Greek format, by which the editors of the Simonian edition are said to have used for their version. I found the sigil magic that becomes paramount in the edition to be hermetic and not necessarily ancient Sumerian or similar in origin. Okay, so sigil magic, if you know what a sigil is like a picture or logo that people use in maybe magical spells or whatever they want to use it for. Even a picture of a star, like a 5-pointed star. in a circle, like written on paper or drawn on the ground or anywhere, is considered to be a sigil. They even have what I've learned now. There's an actual sigil for different angels, if you want to call them that, different messengers, whether they be good energy or bad energy. They also have sigils that are identified with them, right? You can get their sigil, you can look at it, and you can summon them, if you want to use that word. I know this sounds real like demon-like, but you really can. You can summon them, good energy or evil energy, what have you. But that's what a sigil is, right? Okay. I found the sigil magic that becomes paramount in the addition to be hermetic and not necessarily ancient Sumerian or similar in origin. You can draw any sigil, give it a name, and fragment a separate entity-like existence. Get people to use it and give energy to it via grimoire magic, and you're off. You really don't need any pre-existing materials to perform spiritual work, at least not as the mystic has experienced it. However, equivalent occult signet and epitaph, I think I probably said it wrong, epitaph, E-P-I-T-A-P-H. Let me just look it up.
Epitaph.
Epitaph. Okay, got it. You really don't need pre-existing materials to perform spiritual work, at least not as the mystic has experienced it. However, equivalent occult signet and hold on. Epitaph. However, equivalent occult signet and epitaph iconography. Y'all, I'm having time with these words today. Iconography. Okay. However, equivalent occult signet and epitaph iconography does actually appear among dragon kings of ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt to preserve varying king names and deeds of rulers and ancestors, a concept not entirely irrelevant to these supposed books of the dead names. I was actually introduced to the work of Zecharia Sitchin relatively late in the nearly 2 decades I dedicated to the great mysteries. Sitchin's work served to confirm several significant conclusions I had independently arrived at. For starters, that these figures who appeared in our ancient mythologies as gods, including the very divine encounters referred to in the Old Testament, were of a common origin, called Annunaki by some, and that this was a very important key to understand the convoluted evolution of the original tradition that developed into very variegated systems now bursting from the New Age. For example, the tradition was echoed across the Danube River of mainland Europe by none other than the Tawutha de Anu, or children of Anu, into what we call Druidry today. And what's more, if all of these concepts do centralize with some type of alien interdimensional intelligences, then certainly the foundations of all modern religious, mythical, and even anthropological lore are in serious need of reevaluation. That's kind of what we said. He just used bigger words. But we was like, wait a minute, everything is stemming from this. Even our Bible. How is that so? Right? Because you're telling us our Bible is true, but this is false. But we found out that the Bible comes from this. We got problems, right? This needs to be reevaluated. He just said it in more grown-up terms. I'll read it again. And what's more, if all these concepts do centralize with some type of alien interdimensional intelligences, then certainly the foundations of all modern religious, mystical, and even anthropological lore are in serious need of reevaluation. Such a reevaluation is the intended direction of energy made by the current editor in shedding new light on these mysteries in a medium and at a time when they might be best received or be prophetically found necessary. It should be understood that the intention of this work is not to replace or even compete with the Simonian work, but should instead validate it, as well as many other traditions that have emerged, both public and private, which can now be interpreted anew in sight of pure stream of ancient lore. This work was originally sought to validate the reconstruction of a Mardukite movement, that which was actually the basis for mystical priesthoods of ancient Babylon and Egypt, and in turn have become the source of a diverse array of practical systems. More than this, however, the Necronomicon is being presented to the public in its present pious condition to give a fresh boost in the human consciousness concerning the book, one that is not merely shrouded in some sophomoric, gruesome Gothic fantasy horror. Elements of this nature do not appear in the present text, which was prepared for true priests and priestess, magicians and wizards of this tradition, and not as a left-hand path grimoire intended to scare dabblers who will undoubtedly fail to understand these mysteries enough to misuse them anyway. Nabu, Joshua Free, Mardukite Home Offices of Denver, Summer Solstice, June 2009. Oh yeah, 45 minutes. Okay, we at the first edition, so we'll stop after the first edition, and tomorrow we'll start with the introduction. Okay, so the last one is one page. Okay, preface to the first edition. During my extensive research with the Mardukite Chamberlains, it became very evident the farther we dug into the sources of the Necronomicon that the grimoire we were uncovering was nothing like the familiar notions of magic books that people often conjure to mind, like the Keys of Solomon or Goetia, but was instead a collection of what appeared to be the most ancient writings on the planet, the basis for the most ancient religious beliefs on the planet, and also the very foundation of all the traditions and paths to come thereafter, including Judaism and the Old Testament. We already knew that. We're trying to get some answers. It further made sense that extending our consciousness to these most ancient sources was the only real truth to be had in this quest, revealing not so much a wizard's spell-casting grimoire, but a priest's Bible with a much purer intention in mind, that through true knowledge I read that sentence wrong. It further made sense that extending our consciousness to these most ancient sources was the only real truth to be had in this quest, revealing not so much a wizard's spell-casting grimoire, but a priest's Bible with a much purer intention in mind, that through true knowledge, power. The product of our research seemed to resemble the elements of Abrahamian-style pious and priestly magic, rooted in dedication and commitment far more than a sorcerer's guide to the acquisition of mundane pleasures. One of the most disappointing comments I usually am confronted with is the Necronomicon is fake. I often wonder what legitimate background one has in making this assumption and to what benchmark they are referring. The core material in the present book is neither Lovecraftian or Simonian, excluding references. The other conversational roadblock I too often get is the Necronomicon is dangerous. And what is even more ridiculous to me is that it often follows with the previous comment. If there is nothing valid to it, how can it be dangerous? Except in our case, I'm sorry, hold on. If there is nothing valid to it, how can it be dangerous? Except in our case, we found that it actually uncovers a very dark truth about not only our world, but how humanity came into existence. What's more is that this truth, when compared to the traditions that later follow, is the oldest, most perfect, complete, and logical example we have to discover. And perhaps the most interesting direction we were led down was when we arrived at the conclusion that most of the negative criticisms toward the mythos presented in the Simonian Necronomicon was on the basis of it being a Sumerian-based text, when we found it to be Babylonian instead. It will be curious to see how this work is responded to a new millennium Necronomicon, providing ancient and pure lore concerning the hottest topics of our time and all times, such as divinity, creation, aliens, humans, religion, pantheistic, magical traditions, alternate dimensions, portals, and the afterlife. For what more could a seeker desire? Nabu, Joshua Free, Marduk Home Offices of Denver, Beltane, May 2009. All right, beautiful people. So that was the end of all the prefaces. Now we'll actually get into the introduction of this book, and I really want to read something from it. Hold on, let me see. Okay, let's do this. Let's read the first little section of the introduction, and then we'll pause. We'll pause right here. Secret of the Ages, the key to it all. Ooh. Okay, let's do this, and then we'll read a little bit of my big toe. Okay. An introduction to the Anunnaki Bible studies. Everyone thinks that they pretty much have a handle of what's going on in existence, and the topic of the Necronomicon is certainly no exception. People believe they know what they know about any given topic, and they base that on their own perceived experience. They continue to validate things from within that knowledge, and things continue to be real within that experience. So based on what you experience, what it's saying is how you perceive the world and perceive the world to be. Not saying that that's right, because you only see the world through your own eye filters, through your own experience, right? They continue to validate things from within that knowledge, and things continue to be real within that experience. That's reality. That's what you perceive to be real, meaning that your way of perceiving the world will continue to confirm your beliefs about your world, as has been proven time and time again. It's almost like prophecy being fulfilled, right? That's why it's so hard to wake people up from a delusion, because of their own personal experiences that they may or may not understand, right? Or they may or may not know could be possibly fiction, right? Because of their perception. And if your perception is tainted or misguided, you're not going to come up with the right answers. You're always going to be just a little bit off, if not a whole lot off. Okay. That's reality. That's what you perceive to be real, meaning that your way of perceiving the world will continue to conform to your beliefs about the world, as has been proven time and time again. Energetic currents that exist within all things, whether living or not. This is what you only experience at its most condensed states here in the physical world of forms. Therefore, until you remove all filters and self-honesty, you cannot perceive things for what they really are. And semantics and terminology serves as a common stumbling block for the psyche. For example, pagan. We think about heathen, right? It says pagan-heathen. Depending on how you were raised and what you think, and words that they use will determine how you look at things. That's why I spend so much time trying to break some of these spells And I try and use words like astral projection, where the church say, "Oh no, that's occultic." No, it's not. Occult simply means hidden. I mean, you don't know, my G. But I'm trying to let you know. So I on purpose use words that we're normally, when we come out of the church, we're scared of. I'm trying to help break the spells that have been put over you. Linda, did I say good morning? Hey girl, hey. I think I did, but I don't know. Just in case I didn't. All right. Depending on your pre-existing beliefs about those words and your real experiences prior, you are certain to have some reaction, positive or negative. The reaction may or may not be well-founded. To begin our mini semantic lesson, a pagan literally is a rural country dweller who occupies spaces outside of the realm, and heathens gather around a fire, which is again a reference to rural life. If you live outside of the realm and are self-dependent, then you are not in the realm and subject to those systems. Even today, we might consider those who would gather around a fire as a source of livelihood versus living in a city to be insane. Okay, I did. Okay, I just want to double check. This whole question of what is real or not real is a philosophical problem that affects not only the magical world and metaphysics, but all of science, religion, and really any personal perceptions of truth. The word reality comes from the Indo-European root reg, R-E-G, as in regal or region or regular, which is related to a measuring device or ruler, and also as a ruler as in king. The word sane is related to what is clean or healthy, and functionally it was the purpose of the king or ruler or the real world or realm to set the boundaries of what is real and not real, by which sanity might be judged. The conclusion: those who are not in agreement or consensus with the realm are healthy. Hold on. I think I put a knot in there. The conclusion: those who are in agreement or consensus with the realm are healthy and clean, and those who are not are mentally ill or insane. And how many have heard the implication that reading from the Necronomicon will make you go insane? I've heard that, not just about the Necronomicon, but some other stuff. Don't read that. It follows those same principles. Don't read that. Don't read it out loud. You can speak curses into your soul, right? That same type of stuff. It's fear of the unknown, especially if you're ignorant to what it is. Really, on your part, it's ignorance and fear of the unknown, right? Because you don't know. You telling everybody else, don't. Like, what? Well, why? Well, I don't know why. Because I'm scared. That's why. That's the best reason I could give you at this point. Well, that's not a good reason because you scared. I'm not. I'm ready to go in. Well, don't. Well, I am. Don't. You know, it's that kind of craziness. And how many have heard the implication that reading from a Necronomicon will make you go insane? What does that mean exactly? Can it be that the mythos it contains does not, as is suggested, cause one to be crazy, but instead to wander outside of what is perceived to be real and true within the realm? The entire social and economic system comes crashing down, and we realize that we have been pawns in a game of alien intelligences. Oh man, that might be our title for the day. Hold on, I gotta figure out the title for today, y'all. So many good things. But this monopoly on truth is not restricted to merely a book called the Necronomicon, but in actuality extends to many related topics of significant human interest. A prime example of this would be the Great Flood or the Deluge. And it's a reference down here. It has reference 7. See also Simon's Gates of Necronomicon, not to be confused with our title. Okay, a prime example of this would be the Great Flood or the Deluge. Traditional sources ascribe the conflicting aspects of this event to a sole deity, Yahweh, but earlier Mesopotamian texts derived from post-Sumerian sources, e.g. Babylon and Egypt, reveal a more Gnostic story. The disinclination towards mankind to enlil and the saving of a specific bloodline of mankind, e.g. Noah's Ark, to Enki. The Holy Bible glosses over this for the sake of monotheism. We done figured that out too. Y'all might be worshiping Enki, my G. Let me read it again. Traditional sources ascribe the conflicting aspects of this event to a sole deity, Yahweh. But earlier Mesopotamian texts derived from post-Sumerian sources, e.g. Babylon and Egypt, reveal a more Gnostic story. The disinclination towards mankind to enlil and the saving of a specific bloodline of mankind, e.g. Noah's Ark, to Enki. The Holy Bible glosses over this for the sake of monotheism. It is assumed, based on the King's List, and it has reference 8, the King's List is, the cuneiform King's List are found within the Tablet K series of this present book. Okay, yeah, so we'll get to that when we get to Tablet K. Excuse me. It is assumed, based on the King's List, that the Anunnaki first make their physical visitation to Earth some 432,000 years prior to that, first creating mankind via genetic inception. Eventually, specific bloodlines emerge as the sons of God, inbred with sons of man, or that is to say, daughters in a more politically correct versions. So we have the creation of humans, a huge disaster, the reestablishment of humans and demigods, and then more smaller disasters. A dynastic succession was established, first with the Anunnaki, and then later with the Dragon Kings and 11 fairy races that often require royalty to marry half-sisters of a different mother. This is not at all the same as inbreeding, same mother, as has become so stereotyped for this subject. The sister was often also of an Anunnaki bloodline, and so the mtDNA, or I think the mtDNA is the maternal bloodline DNA. I gotta look at my DNA test, but I think MT is for the female side. Yeah. The sister was often also of an Anunnaki bloodline, and so the mtDNA was indeed preserved also against popular belief. For example, Abraham, who was named Abram while residing in Sumer, introduces his companion Sarah, or Sarai, which means princess, as both his wife and his sister, a sister by his father, but not his mother. Oh yeah, I think this is gonna get into this. He just mentioned it. I did a little bit of research on the bloodlines, and you know how, of course, if you've read through the Bible, you're familiar with it. They say everything is preserved only through the bloodline of the father. Like they completely just do away with the women and the bloodlines from them as well. But they are the bloodline of the women is so important as well. I'll see if I can. Hopefully, he'll get into it a little bit more than he is right here. But it's absolutely important. Do not count out the bloodline of the women. Yo. Whew. Look, okay, hold on. Let me go back up. The sister was often also of an Anunnaki bloodline, and so the mtDNA was indeed preserved also against popular belief. For example, Abraham, who was named Abram while residing in Sumer, introduces his companion Sarah, or Sarai, which means princess, as both his wife and his sister, a sister by his father, but not his mother. The later descent of Jesus from Abraham, David, and Solomon is what justified his kingship, or enlilship, of the Semitic peoples, as explained on the first page of the New Testament. For being no worldly man, as the church has so fought to maintain, the biblical authors spent a great deal of time justifying his bloodline as a true dragon king. On the topic of Abraham, it is interesting to note one divine encounter when in Genesis he is approached by 3 men. But wait, then they are recognized as divine beings, or Elohim and Anunnaki. And so he throws himself to the ground in devotion. Oh, but wait, as they turn to walk away, the leader of the small group is identified as Lord God Yahweh. Not only did Yahweh first appear mistakable as a man, later in the company of angels, but an actual debate ensues between God and man over the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Perhaps one of the most controversial books to pass through the New Age bowel movement is the Necronomicon, edited by Simon, allegedly Peter Levenda, in 1977. Most of the controversy specifically with the book is in regards to the title, since it was indeed made most public through the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. Firstly, the title does not really mean Book of Dead Names and is not Latin, but is instead rooted in Greek. The book should be more accurately interpreted as the laws and rights of the dead, or that is to say, one's ancestors, since magic is a birthright from which one calls on the divine blood within. Ooh, we gonna get into this. Look, when I tell y'all, me and my sister, we be pulling the Bible apart now. Like, we grew up in the church, so we be pulling stuff apart. Who was like, my sister says, I didn't say anything to her first. She said, Pam, she said, look, I'm gonna just say this. It seems like this particular scripture is just thrown in there in the mix of everything that was just going on, where it says in the Old Testament, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. But stick with me, y'all. Y'all gonna see where we're going with this. It just kept staying out. Different things like this, it just sticks out like a sore thumb, right? And then you start thinking about the stories with Saul going to seek the soothsayer and all those different things. I like some of these things just seem to stick out like sore thumbs, and we couldn't quite figure out why until we got enough strength to go looking in some of the stuff that we were told not to look into. Then things began to unravel, right? You begin to put on that little loose string on that sweater, then the whole thing begins to unravel, making everything naked for you to see. We're going to get into it, y'all, but we're going to keep with the flow of this, so pay attention. The book should be more accurately interpreted as the laws and rights of the dead, or that is to say, one's ancestors, since magic is a birthright from which one calls on the divine blood within. Secondly, oh man, we might use that as our title for today. I don't know. Y'all, I'm going to get it together. Hold on. There's just so many things that jump out at me. People going to completely write me off as a heretic, y'all. But I get so excited about learning truth and missing pieces of puzzles that's been floating around in my head and in all my many notebooks forever. The books should be more accurately interpreted as the laws and rights of the dead, or that is to say, one's ancestors, since magic is a birthright which one calls on the divine blood within. Secondly, the work and tradition is not Sumerian, which have heralded most divine attributes properly to Enlil and then also to Ninurta, his heir, but is instead Babylonian in origin, deferring all powers of earthly magic and world order specifically to Enki and Marduk. Anu remains a distant figure, and Enlil is mentioned occasionally. In time, Babylonians assign all Enlilship or lordship of earth to Marduk, and the most ancient epic of creation. Epic of creation number 9 is y'all heard me say it, the Enuma Elish, also known as the Epic of Creation, given as the Tablet N and Tablet F series, is Babylonian in origin and formed the basis of the Judeo-Christian Genesis. Okay, just so y'all know. Anu remains a distant figure, and Enlil is mentioned occasionally. In time, Babylonians assigned all Enlilship or lordship of earth to Marduk, and the most ancient epic of creation was modified to allow this young slayer of serpents the position of great slayer in the primordial war in heaven. Incompleteness of the Simonian grimoire reflects the fact that the work was not specifically intended as a priest's guide at the time the tradition was active in Babylon, such as you will find better represented in this book, but was instead a hasty effort in preserving a disappearing tradition, at least from the perspective of the author's discretion long after. It is still intriguing to find remnants of the Mardukite priesthood hidden in the underground a millennium after Marduk left Babylon. So not only was the originating author most likely drawing from memory or already worn tablets, but the supposed Arabic version he wrote later made it into the Greek language, which is where the authors of the Simonian version have claimed to have as a source. Whether or not John Dee was involved in this process as well is questionable, though not out of the question, as the Enochian tradition is quite often referred to as a system of the Necronomicon. And it gives a reference 10. Reference 10 says, see also Liber 555, released as The Crossings of the Abyss, Secrets of the Simon Necronomicon, also available as the Necronomicon for Beginners by Joshua Free. Yeah. Some what?
I think this is your water.
Yeah. This? Go ahead. I ain't even open it yet, too. Okay. Okay, yeah. Whether or not John Dee was involved in this process as well is questionable, though not out of the question, as the Enochian tradition is quite often referred to as a system of the Necronomicon. Hold on. And we stop after this page, y'all. Yeah, right there. The idea that the work is devil worship is ludicrous in that the tradition existed in a pre-Christian era where such definitions did not exist. While many have indeed made the Enki-Satan connection in the past, it should be understood that the opposing side of Enlil is no more or less evil, but a matter of specific perspective. The fact remains that the Enlil-like world reigns supreme, with Jehovah Yahweh being the singular source for all in the universe, and his brother Satan is the devil, seeking to reap the souls of men away from Yahweh. Such ideas exist as only cultural perspectives, and since Babylon did indeed exist within Enlil-like territory, although just to the south, Eridu was to forever and always be sacred to Enki. Babylonians became demonized and is a common issue of war, religion, and politics. The mission to unify all under a Mardukite banner, who sought to return people to God through magic and prayer, and not animal and other sacrifices of life or other wretched enslavement, did not bode well for the other gods. Marduk sought to bring the navel of the earth from antediluvian Nippur to Babylon, but his stargate at Babili, Babili, at Babili, or the gateway of the gods, the original Tower of Babel, was destroyed in c. 3460 BC. Marduk then went to the Nile region as Ra, and there ensued a 350-year war between Marduk and his brother Thoth Hermes, or Ningishzida, for supremacy. Eventually, Thoth bows out to start a civilization in South America as, guess who? Quetzalcoatl. I know y'all done heard about Quetzalcoatl. And if y'all haven't heard about him, if you're familiar with Big Judah And it's another guy. He does a lot of stuff from South America. I can see the name of the channel, but they do a lot about this particular side of it. Like when I began to go to different people's channel, different information they was bringing out, because I had already had a bunch of pieces of information that was disjointed. I could hear truth in what every one of them was saying. But you got some of the Hebrew channels fighting against some of this information that they done pulled out from this side, which seems occultic to the church, and the Hebrews coming right out the church, and they say they full of the devil, don't even say their name. I'm like, bruh, but he is saying a lot of truth. You may not agree with some of the terms he used, but he is saying, based on my personal experience and traveling around the world while in the military, I'm like, what he is saying and what he's bringing out is true. Some things I can't verify everything because I don't know everything, but they are Abdullah Unifer. It's another guy. He got this this intro to his videos. It's like this what is it? It's not a panther. It's like a cheetah in the intro of his videos, and a lot of his videos seem to be like American Indian, but it's showing you the true American Indians and how they were of darker complexions. He brings out a lot of that stuff. I forget, I can see his channel. I can't make out his name. But he brings out a lot of this. But they talk a lot about this particular portion of it and some of the more ancient texts that they're using and showing you how this is how it's changing. Karimu. Yeah, Kimball Mac. Yeah, that's close to the name. But that's who I'm talking about. Yeah. No, not Dane Calloway. Dane Calloway do too. All of them, y'all. I promise y'all. We may not agree on everything, but all of these guys have a piece of this puzzle. I'm like, yo, wait a minute. That's true. I'm not sure about that, but this I know that's 100% spot on, right? So I'm not discounting anybody. I'm like subscribed to all of them because I'm using them to see what new pieces of information that they're bringing out, which they're fighting against everybody else. Karimi, yeah, I think that's his name, but yeah, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Kimball Mac. I'm gonna share his channel with y'all. I'm gonna share his channel. It's really, really probably about all the channels. I would say his channel is probably one of the most thorough, reference packed videos, all in like this beautiful production that he does. I just haven't found any. Well, with the exception of what are their names? They're on the Hebrew side though. It's two of them. I'm gonna share their channel. I'm gonna share both of their channels with y'all. But they have like professional productions of their videos, and Dane Calloway too. But these two, they bring out. Okay, how you say the name? Karimu. He brings out more of the stuff that they find that happened down in South America, to whereas the other guy is I think it's Hebrew Nation Building. It might be. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say it's Hebrew Nation Building. I think. Don't quote me. I got to look for it. But their production is really professional, and they pull the information from like Africa and the Europes and everything. But all of them have a piece of the puzzle, and it's really good. It all of it goes together. You just got to find it. You got to turn a puzzle piece around. You know how you're trying to put together a puzzle, and you got to turn it around, make sure it fit in correctly. You just have to turn it around in the right position to get it to fit. That's what I began to realize. So, but you got one big channel Hebrew out here where he be talking bad about everybody. I'm like, bro, now you got a little piece of the puzzle, but you just you and your brother just kind of trying to disregard everybody else. Like, it's like y'all keeping up strife. They say they're not, but they're like main culprits of keeping up strife with people that's bringing out pieces of the puzzle, all under the guise of keeping their Hebrew brethren and sisterin safe. They tell you to stay away from their channels and stuff. I mean, I get that. Being overprotected, okay, but them people don't belong to you. Everybody, they searching around trying to find out the truth. And you got this particular channel. I'm not even going to mention a channel, but it's a really, really big channel amongst the Hebrew brethren community, and I learned a lot from them as I was transitioning. I learned a whole lot, but they're kind of at a stuck phase and don't even realize they stuck because they fighting and talking about everybody else that's bringing out this particular piece, because not only did they come out the church, but they came out of the church as pastors. And there's still some things they are refusing to let go. I'm like, bro, y'all is not going to get it. You keep doing this and you fighting everybody, calling them the devil. I mean, name calling and everything. I'm like, man, what are y'all doing? What they're saying is the truth. You got people from Africa and like the South Americas that's bringing out these little pieces, and the people that's searching for it, that's a part of their channel, they're telling them to stay away from. And this is the very thing that they need to lock the pieces in place, to make this puzzle look a little like you can get focused on what this picture is we're really building here, right? They're becoming a stumbling block now. And that's what I'm like, oh, Father, they becoming a stumbling block, because low-key, they still waiting for Jesus to come back and swoop them up. I was like, but I'm gonna keep my comments to myself. I was like, but they starting to do some damage, you know, and they just, because it's like nothing else new is coming out about Jesus and all this stuff. So now it's just like they're picking fights with everybody, and it's really becoming disgusting to me. I considered quite a few times unsubscribing from their channels, but I just kind of keep just see if they're growing, to see if they're getting it yet. You know, I even sent a couple questions, but they'll respond, but they'll respond sarcastically. No, we know that, sister, and this. No, I'm like, no, you don't. You definitely don't know this, because you responded to me like you're trying to prove a point and not really consider what I just said or what I just asked you about this, or what you put out. So I just kind of keep my distance from them. I ain't gonna say their names though. I ain't gonna throw them under the bus. Hold on, let me go back up here. Marduk sought to bring the navel of the earth from antediluvian Nippur to Babylon, but his stargate at Babylon, the gateway of the gods, the original Tower of Babel, was destroyed in c. 3460 BC. Marduk then went to the Nile region as Ra, and there ensued a 350-year war between Marduk and his brother Thoth Hermes, which is Ningishita, for supremacy. Eventually, Thoth bows out to start a civilization in South America as Quetzalcoatl. It is important to note here that the powers of Marduk were bestowed upon him as the youngest of the elder gods. His position was elevated to that of Lord of the Earth, such as was held once by Enki and Enlil at other times and places. And this is last little paragraph, y'all. Marduk becomes the all-god or Lord of the Earth, and given the roles, names, and functionings of the remaining 50 that had been appointed as gods, each in their own right time and culture. It should be stressed that these gods are not God, and that there is only one God, but this force does not concern itself with the mundane aspects of the physical world in which we live. Let me read that again, just in case y'all missed that, right? Remember the Anunnaki even referred to the creator of all as the God, right? Listen. It should be stressed that these gods are not God or the creator of all God. It should be stressed that these gods are not God, and that there is only one God, but this force does not concern itself with the mundane aspects of the physical world in which we live. Anu is the name given to the Heavenly Father, he who reigns over the Anunnaki from the heavens that came to the earth in ancient times, and who remain in spirit and genetics even among us today. The Necronomicon is a Mardukite grimoire specifically for the race of Marduk that keeps watch over the gate to the outside. In addition to the previously discussed priestly lore, there are a few other key areas to consider. Firstly, the Malku exorcism, found on Akkadian tablets, was performed around October 31st. An ancient Samhain equivalent of Halloween, and perhaps also Beltane, May the 1st. These include rudimentary protections offered to a Babylonian Mardukite. The second is the tablets of Marduk, which is to say the Magan text or Egyptian, or the Enuma Elish Babylonian, and the underworld descent of Inanna, which is Ishtar or Isis, who is actually Marduk's sister, also known as Astare or Ashtoreth. And we learned all about them real good when we were reading through Fossilized Customs, right? All of this, all the stuff that we read is all going together. So keep all the information that we learn, bring it up with you, right? Bring everything with you, y'all. Okay, hold on. The second is the Tablets of Marduk, which is to say the Magan text, which is Egyptian, or the Enuma Elish, Babylonian, and the underworld descent of Inanna, who is Ishtar/Isis, who is actually Marduk's sister, also known as Astarte or Ashtoreth. In addition, the seventh tablet that Marduk added to the Enuma Elish is essentially the book of 50 names found in the Necronomicon. The tablets of Marduk would be read publicly by priests at Marduk's festival of Akati, A.Ki.Ti, Akiti, or Zagmuk, when the sun enters Aries at the spring equinox on March 21st. And it's reference 11, and that was the last sentence, but reference 11 says, the Enuma Elish is given as the tablet N series in the present document. The seventh tablet of the Enuma Elish, the 50 names, is found as tablet F. Right? So when we get to this tablet of 50 names, you gonna really, if you come out the church, you gonna see what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna ruin it for you. I'm gonna just let the suspense build up. But I think we're gonna pause right here. We ain't gonna read none of my big toe today. Cedarholic Gardens. Shalom, shalom. Hold on, let me see. Who you gonna call? I think we'll pause in this since we okay, so definitely tomorrow. I'm gonna keep the reading from this 30 minutes. So we can get in 30 minutes of this, right? So we'll even out the time. I know I be super excited and want to read everything in one day, but I want to keep it balanced with this because all of this is going to go together, y'all. So, but I'm trying to balance out my time and stuff. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. Like I said, we ain't going to get into my big toe because we're already at an hour and 25 minutes. I know people got to get to work. We got things we got to get done today. Thank y'all for hanging out. It is Thursday, February the 17th, 2022, day 33 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets under the 4-year consecutive day count. It is day 1051. We've finished reading all the prefaces in the Anunnaki Bible. And like I just said, we didn't read any of my big toe. But I'm going to share. Hold on. What I said I was going to share? Those two channels. Okay. Hold on. Let me write that down. So I don't forget. Share 2 channels so y'all know who I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah, I recommend their channels. I know some people may, I don't know, they got their own opinions or whatever, but I think they bring out really good research. And, I'll give them their props because they're better researchers than I am. I have my little specialty that I know how to do, but the parts that I don't do, they do really, really well. So I'm going to share them, and I recommend go through some of their literature, and things will start making sense. The more information you pull in, the better you're able to understand the bigger picture and start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Make sure you turn the puzzle piece around the right way. Don't try and force it in a place where it don't fit. If it don't fit, it don't mean it don't go with the puzzle. Just set it off to the side for the time being until we figure it out. We may need to add some more pieces before that piece right there will fit in. But I'm telling you, everybody got a piece of this puzzle, and it gets so much more exciting as the days pass. Yes?
You open your toy now?
No, I'm not going to open my toy, Tootie. All right, y'all. So with that being said, girl, don't choke me. Let's go ahead and do the blessing. Hold on. The blessing, y'all. I'm going to go back. I made so many notes. And if y'all missed me this morning when I was talking about my experience with the Gateway program, just kind of go back and listen to the first few minutes. I still ain't shared my updated list to type out things that I've been experiencing over the days. I shared a little bit in the beginning because I'm still adding stuff to it, right? So, but if y'all haven't been, consider going through it. I'm telling you, it's, I don't know, it's something you just have to experience for yourself, right? And I hope by me being transparent, sharing what I've been experiencing, it'll help kind of ward off some of the fear, especially if you're still churchified real good. All right, y'all. The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. Francis Peter, shalom, shalom. Check out on YouTube, Black Sambo, talk about our people in Southeast Asia. I believe it will add on to what you're teaching myself. So, okay, I sure will. I ain't never heard of them, but I sure will check it out. Hold on, because this be disappearing. Hold on, you said Black Sambo. Sambo. Okay, Southeast Asia. Talking about that. Asia. Okay, I'm definitely going to look into that channel. Black Sambo. Okay.
Mom,
all right, y'all. Yes, babe.
Y'all already done with our schoolwork?
No, we haven't even started our schoolwork for today. But we about to go to the Y, sis. And it's going to be a good day. It's going to be feeling good out here today.
You going right now or are we not?
In a few.
Daddy coming?
They got it. Well, he might, because the project don't start till this evening. Trina said, hey, Bells. Say, hey, girl, hey.
Hi.
Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow. Bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce. All right, to the baby. Go ahead.
We can make boys up and we can go.
Let the boys wake up when they wake up. Let them naturally wake up. We ain't got to wake them up. And while we waiting for them to get up, I got a couple things to do. And then as they get woken up and pull themselves together, we can roll out. All right, go ahead. Girl, end this. All right, y'all.